Hi guys, today's interview is with Titanic Wrestling's own Mohan.
There we go. We're
Hi
live.
Mohan,
Hello, James. How you
here
doing,
we
mate?
are. Hey, welcome to my channel.
What did you say? Sorry.
Welcome to my channel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
I have a question to ask you, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course you can. Go ahead.
When you start wrestling?
So I started wrestling last June. So I did. I pretty much decided that I wanted to follow my dream over the pandemic when I had a
Yeah.
lot of time to think. I nearly actually started wrestling whenever 10 years ago with Pro
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling Ulster. I met a
Yeah,
couple of wrestlers on a yeah, I met a couple of wrestlers on a bus one time, and they told me to come to training, and I was so close to doing it, and I think I just chickened out at the time.
uh,
I was 19. So I ended up pursuing acting and music for the
uh,
next decade of my life, and then it took me that long to come back around and go, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to
yeah,
chase my dream of being a wrestler, and so now I've been doing it for a year.
yeah. Who trained you?
Who trained me? So I train in Titanic Wrestling. So I believe you were chatting to Redmond, my illustrious partner, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah, yes,
Yeah,
I was. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, just yesterday. Well, he was in
yeah,
my inaugural training class along with a load of others. So we were trained
yeah,
by primarily JDP.
yeah.
Then we started getting trained by Tucker, and we've also been trained a good bit by Rocky Starr, who I believe you've also interviewed.
Yeah, I had.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So we're getting, and then I've also done a wee bit of training over at NXG, and those guys get trained by Nathan Hoy. So I've had a good
yeah,
blend of teachers so far, so to speak.
yeah. Yeah. What is your move?
What are my moves? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, pardon?
what is your move?
Yeah, well, so I'm still working on my move set.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically we only debuted there in February, so we're still quite young in our careers. So at the minute it's a lot of trial and error, you know. So, but I've stumbled on a couple of moves which I think
uh,
I quite like. So at the minute,
yeah.
for what I'm using as a finisher, is a sort of like a one-legged code breaker, if you could imagine that.
O-
And
Okay. Ah, yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
and then I think I've also stumbled on. I don't know if I've necessarily invented this, or I just don't know who did it first. But I was trying a Saida back suplex one time, and then I just kind of
mm.
twisted it into a sort of rock bottom afterwards. And my trainer JDP says, "I don't even know what that is," and so I assumed that I invented a move accidentally, so I call that
Yeah.
the I call that the whirlwind bomb at the minute, but I
Yeah.
might change its name at some point.
Yeah. What is your favorite match of yours?
The greatest match of mine.
Yeah.
So I mean, your first is always memorable because it's
Uh,
such a big thing to get out there for the first time. And it was such a goal of mine throughout my whole life that I remember. I've performed in front of so many audiences doing acting and music before, and I've never felt nerves like this going out for my first wrestling match back in February. But
yeah.
we did, and the crowd got really behind us, and not the match wasn't necessarily like the greatest match ever, but the electricity we
Uh,
felt was insane, and it was just like, yeah, this is what it's for, man, you know.
yeah.
So it's hard not to say the first match at the minute, you know.
What was your first match?
My first match was a tag team
Yeah.
match in the event was called Stranger Thingy-Majigs by
Oh yeah.
Titanic Wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was the Hallions versus Kirk Cooper and Jack Ritter. And the stipulation was that if we
Yeah.
won, Kirk Cooper would have to leave Titanic Wrestling for good. And we won. So
Yeah.
we in our first match, we sent Kirk Cooper packing in his last match.
Uh,
So that's notable.
what is your character?
So my character is we're in a tag team called the Hallions. All right. So
Yes.
if you actually Google what a Hallion means, it means a contemptible or a
Mm,
detestable person. So
mm,
pretty much what that translates to me is a mindset. And it's a mindset of no one wants us here. We're
yeah.
not guaranteed a wrestling career, so we don't care who we're going to piss off, and we don't care who we have to stamp on because we have a limited amount
Yeah.
of time to get success in this industry. So
Okay.
we don't care if we're detestable. We don't care if we're contemptible. We're going to get what we want by one means or another. So that's probably the simplest way I can break down what being a Hallion means to me.
Okay. What
Hmm.
was the most?
What's that? Sorry.
What was the most?
What's the move? Sorry.
What
Uh,
was the most?
I'm sorry. I can't quite hear you, James. My
What
internet's
you
playing
was
up.
the most?
Oh,
Okay.
where do we
Where
wrestle the most?
you? Yes.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah. So at the minute,
Okay.
we do quite a lot of wrestling with Titanic Wrestling, obviously, because that's our home, you know. So we wrestle a lot
Yeah.
in up in the Collinswater Community Centre. We've just started wrestling in Derry with them, which is going down quite well. But
Yeah.
we also do some wrestling over at NXG Wrestling, which is pretty fun.
Yes.
So we train
Yes.
up at the Lions. So we would wrestle up in the Lions Den Dojo up in Carryduff, which is actually it's a really cool wee place because it's
Yeah.
literally just a dojo with brick walls and stuff. But they've got the ring there, and they always have it lit, very cool. So it's almost like a little fight club feel up there, you know. And then the Titanic shows that we do feel like the bigger shows. You know what I mean? Like it's
Oh yeah.
they're big for us at the minute. So and they're also on less often, you know. So a mixture of them at the minute, but we
Yeah.
hope to get more sort of get around
Yeah.
Ireland a bit more than maybe branch out to the UK and take it from there, you know.
That's all. Thank you for your time. Thank
No
you
worry.
for
James,
your
thank you.
time.
My pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. All right. I hope to see you at the show soon.
Yeah.
All
Hopefully.
right, buddy. See you soon, mate. Bye bye.
See ya.